Okay, guys, today's review. I do apologize. I don't have any skeletal notes per se for you guys. You can definitely handwrite, but this has a lot to do with your reference table. So you definitely want to have your reference table. If you do not have your reference table, I cannot stress that you need to go to Earth Science reference tables in your Google, in the search bar, and ask for Earth Science reference table. It's the first link that pops up. It's a PDF. You can download it. You can print it off. Though it's going to be like 32 pages because it's supposed to be front and back. If you can do front and back, it's 16 pages. All right, with that said, rock cycle review, because test is tomorrow. You need to study. No notes for your test, just your reference table and you. All right? So, you see this on page 6. It's the rock cycle in Earth's crust. It's up in the upper corner above the igneous scheme. And so you have this and you're like, okay, this is a lot. Well, I'm going to break it down a little bit. So the squares are the rocks. There's 3 types: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. The circles are not the specific rocks. So you have sediments, which is broken down rock, and then you have magma, molten rock. And the arrows are the processes, and you can see that they typically go in a circular motion, like it all goes around. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is sedimentary rocks. Oh, pardon me. Oh, here we go. A sedimentary rock is rocks formed from sediments. So what is a sediment? You see here it's like sand. There's a bunch of little tiny rocks broken up and everything. And then they form sedimentary rocks. How do they do that? Well, you saw before. We'll get into that in a little bit. So sedimentary rocks form from sediments. Igneous rocks. Igneous are formed from lava or magma that has cooled or solidified. So here's the magma chamber right here and the lava right here that forms igneous rocks. And now you have metamorphic. Well, metamorphic is formed from heat and pressure. So any rock, it can be even a metamorphic rock. You can metamorphize a metamorphic rock. You're going to add heat and pressure, and you can get, say you have a sedimentary or anything, you get a metamorphic rock. Heat and pressure. Oh, pardon me. Make metamorphic rock. All right, so we're going to look at sediments. Remember, these are not rocks. What are sediments? There's no real good place for me to go. A sediment is any rock not attached to bedrock formed from weathering and erosion, which is our next unit, but we'll get to that. We'll touch on it a little bit. So any rock that weathers or erodes off of like bedrock forms sediments. So like here's a picture. This could be considered bedrock. And you have this sliding action, a rock fall. And all these right here, those are considered sediments because they have fallen off. It's not new rocks formed, but they're sediments. They're broken off original rock. And that is done by weathering and erosion, whether it be from frost action, wind, rain. Something happened where it eroded and all the sediment fell. All right, so we've got magma. Magma is the liquid rock or magma that is in the earth. Lava is on the surface. So melting of any rock forms magma, or if it comes out, it's lava. All right, so look at this. Sedimentary rocks can melt into magma. Metamorphic rocks can melt and go into magma. Igneous rocks melt and go back into magma. They all can go back in there. All right, so we have from igneous rocks. Igneous rocks going this way, they melt. All right, melting. What is melting? This is a process of a solid turning to a liquid. This is like your ice cubes. Your solid ice cubes, they melt because they're absorbing all this heat and they turn into liquid. Same thing goes with rocks. Rocks melt, those igneous rocks melt, turn into magma. But then that magma then again turns into igneous rocks again. So it could be a little tiny circle right there. To become igneous rock, it melts and then solidifies. That's the huge thing. It solidifies. That's the process of a liquid turning back into a solid. So first, igneous rock was melting, turned into magma. Magma then solidified, became a solid, turned right back into an igneous rock, maybe a different one. All right, and then now you have all three can turn into sediments. Sedimentary rocks can break off and form sediments. Igneous rocks, you saw a picture, that can break off and form into sediments. Same with metamorphic rocks. Break off and turn into sediments. Pardon me. I don't know why I keep doing that. How do they do that? They do it through this thing called weathering and erosion. I kind of briefly talked about it. Weathering is the breaking of the rocks. So you're breaking it. That's what weathering does. Erosion is that movement, that fall. It erodes away. It falls away. It breaks away. All right, so now you have sediments. They're going to be deposited or buried. All right, so deposition, it's the placement of where the rock is. You can see this person is placing these rocks, depositing them. Burial, it's hiding a rock underneath more rock, burying it. It goes down and down and down. It's further down. And then you go to compaction and cementation. This is how you know it makes sedimentary. Compaction and cementation. So compaction, it's squeezing together. It's like this hydraulic press, squeezing and squishing and smushing all that pineapple. Make nice pineapple juice. And cementing is gluing it together and becoming one. And remember, the cementing is typically like fine particles of sand and water. That's typically minerals also can help the cementation process. So compaction and cementation make sedimentary rocks. All right, and you can see that's the only way sedimentary rocks go. So they have to be deposited and buried and then compacted and cemented. Now you're going to metamorphic rock. Look at this, igneous rock, heat and pressure to metamorphic. Sedimentary rock, heat and pressure, metamorphic. And look at this. This is where it's kind of crazy. Metamorphic can go and get more heat and pressure and become even more metamorphic or a different type of metamorphic rock. So last page. Heat and pressure, this metamorphism. Adding heat, it gets warmer. Adding pressure to squeeze hard. Sometimes when you squeeze and you make that pressure like so much, it heats things up. There was this one time I watched an ad for a self-lighting match. It's really cool. All they had was this little pad of cotton or something on the end of this stick, and they pushed it in this tube, and as soon as they pushed it down, it lit on fire because there was so much pressure it caused heat. That's what's going on with metamorphism. All right, guys, so now that you're done with this, go watch the Edpuzzle. It's a Bill Nye Edpuzzle, and then I also put on there another video on a review of all the quizzes, so you can get an idea where you went wrong, what was right, and a good review for the test tomorrow. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me, email me, or get on Zoom. Do not send me any messages through the Google Classroom. I will not read them. I don't read them. If I do, it's by chance because I'm correcting things. Do not use that as a form of communication. I do not. I have got other platforms. We are soon going to be using ClassTag a lot more. So make sure you can use ClassTag, you can use email, hop on Zoom. Once a week, you have to hop on Zoom with me. It's part of your grade. All right, with that being said, I hope you guys have a nice day. All right.